Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here again. Another week, another Saturday. If you're watching this on a Saturday, another Sunday or Tuesday or whatever the day you're watching this, I'm just so glad that you're here and following us and following this channel and helping us grow. From last week to this one, we have over 10 new people who are subscribers. And thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I hope you guys are enjoying what we're doing. And if you are not, or if you have some kind of suggestion, please just comment down below so I can know and we can maybe produce something even more greater, even more special for you. And because I've been answering some questions about how I learned English living in Brazil, how everything works for me, and how all these things are going to Canada and studying in university in Canada and all this kind of stuff. Here at this channel, you can follow me, and eventually I'm going to explain how things are working and how I've done things. And today I want to talk about this whole studying English thing, because I've noticed that it's something that a lot of people ask me personally, and I would like to use today's video to explain to you. And when I say explain to you, I just want to give you maybe some tips that maybe it's a way you can improve your English, you can develop your language skills, because if English is not your first language, like it's not mine, you can definitely improve your English by listening more and watching videos and watching movies, as you probably know, TV series, this kind of stuff. A lot of people talk about this, but I want to give you the tips that I used when I was in my process of learning the language. I still consider myself learning, but at this stage, I am more developed, and I use this same tools as a way of practice, and I'm gonna explain. Okay, one of the first things I did back in 2005, when I started learning English, when I started studying not in school, with a private teacher, and actually focused on learning the language, a new language. One of the first things I did was watching a bunch of stuff in English. My teacher, he suggested back then that I would watch and rewatch movies and cartoons all in English. And that's what I did. I remember after he told me this in the first class, I stopped at the video store. If you're too young, if you're under 20, you have no idea what a video store is. But it's a place that you used to go and rent and see the cover of of movies, and maybe I would like to watch this one, and you rent it and then you give back the next day. But I went to the video store, and I remember renting The Lion King, which was an old movie already in 2005, because the movie's from the 90s. But it was a movie that I've watched it like 100 times. And I decided to start it with this because I had watched 100 times, but in Portuguese, dubbed in Portuguese. So now was the time to watch in English and with no subtitles. And this is my first tip: watching stuff in English without subtitles. But there's a catch. I believe you should start with things that are familiar to you. Movies that you probably already like and you've seen 100 times, and you know the story, you know the plots. Sometimes you even know the lines, which is very common. And I did this with The Lion King. Let's go back, and I was like 15 years old. Teenagers, we had a lot of free time. And at the same night, after arriving from my first English class, I started watching and it was fun to see all the lines I already knew for the last 10 years. But now in English, and the way they pronounce the names, and everything was just so fine. When Timon and Pumbaa started singing, Hakuna Matata, it was very nice, the experience, and I still remember it. And that is tip number one. On the tip number two, what I used to do is watch stuff that was a little bit more serious, not just a movie, a kid's movie or a simple movie, because watching the simple movies that I had already seen before, it helps because of this. You are familiar with the story and etc. But now watching stuff that are new, maybe not a subject that you're totally familiar with, and that's what I did. I started watching movies in Brazil. I think until today, 2021. Every Monday night in one of the biggest Brazilian channels, there's an international movie, and you could back then you could not put subtitles, but you could change to the native language of the movie. And I started doing this, and I don't remember which movie was the first movie I did it, but it was the same week I started as the previous story of The Lion King. I remember not understanding 98% of the movie, and I say 98 because I remember every time they said a number from 1 to 20, and or the color black or blue or red or whatever. I understood only these words. I was completely know nothing in English, and it was a very interesting thing to know to see how you go from 0 to almost 0, but it still is an improvement. But anyway, it's a kind of a nice process also doing this and watching stuff that are not familiar with. Tip number 3, understanding and fully understanding. How do you know if you're fully understanding? You know by repeating it. So repeating the sentences that you are understanding, it's a great, very important part of the process. Because let's face it, it's the only way you can actually prove that you understood something is by repeating it. So if I say a word, the book is on the table. If you're able to repeat it, it's because you understood what I said, right? It makes sense, right? So I started doing this with the same movies, the same TV series, the same cartoons that I was watching already. Well, I'm a 90s kid, so Friends was a big part of my life. So now I was watching Friends without the subtitles and trying to repeat what they were saying, the things that I understood. And most importantly, repeating in the exact same way. This is one thing that is, some people take it for granted, but understanding something and then being able to repeat it is good. If you're able to repeat it and reproduce it exactly the way you understood, that is something big. So that was my tip number 3. Tip number 4 is doing this consistently. Some people think they are going to learn a new language just, by snapping their fingers, and it's not going to happen like this. Learning anything, I believe that learning anything requires some kind of an effort. You have to put in the time, put in the work. It's just the way it works. That's the way I think. And doing this every day, maybe 20 to 25 minutes a day, is just as important as going to school, to your English school, to practice with your teacher, with your classmates or whatever. Practicing at home and practicing by yourself is something that is very important. Some people take it for granted. They think that because they have an English teacher twice a week, it's enough. But I'm telling you, the teacher can only go so far. There is a very big gap between what the teacher already knows and can give it to you, and what you can go there and take it. So doing this consistently is my tip number 4. My tip number 5 is actually showing you one of the things. I've worked as an English teacher for a long time, maybe 13 years already. Oh my God, such a long time. And one of the things I do with my students is all this that I just told you, all these 4 tips I just gave you. I tell my students this all the time. And after they see me talking and they talk to me and they understand, oh my God, it really works. I give an example how we can do this, because today we have YouTube, we have Netflix, Amazon Prime, all this kind of stuff. But I remember 15 years ago that we didn't have this. So I wish I had YouTube when I was learning English back in the day. But now that we do, we have to use it. So this video is an opportunity you have of listening to some guy speaking and giving you tips, not just because of the tips, because you're listening to someone talking to you about how to study English. And one of the things I decided to do with my students is I have this, one of my favorite TV series today is The Big Bang Theory. You're probably familiar with it. Very funny. I laugh so hard every time I watch, and because it is a sitcom, but they talk about science, and it's a for some people very difficult thing to talk about and they have the main character played by Jim Parsons, Sheldon Cooper. He's a physicist. He's a PhD physicist, and he talks very fast. It is actually part of his character to talk that fast. And I use him as an example of how you can listen to people talking normally and listen to people talking fast. And you can understand them if you put in the effort. It's a less than 2-minute video. Actually, I want to watch with you right now, if you don't mind. Let's go.
Oh, come on. I think it's nice that Captain Sweatpants showed up to your art opening.
Yeah, it would have been nicer if he hadn't touched all the cheese.
It's kind of early. Do you want to maybe come in for some coffee or something?
Oh, gee, it's a little late for coffee, isn't it?
Oh, you think coffee means coffee? That is so sweet. Come on, I think I have decaf.
Oh, good. Stuart, I thought I heard your voice. Do you have a moment?
Yeah, I guess.
Sheldon, we're a little busy here, so.
What are you doing?
We're having coffee.
Isn't it a little late for coffee?
It's okay, she thinks she has decaf.
I'll just go look for it.
What's up?
I've spent the last 3 hours in an online debate in the DC Comics Batman chat room, and I need your help.
Oh, yeah, those guys can be very stubborn. What's the topic?
I am asserting, in the event that Batman's death proves permanent, the original Robin, Dick Grayson, is the logical successor to the Batcowl.
Ooh, Sheldon, I'm afraid you couldn't be more wrong.
More wrong? Wrong is an absolute state and not subject to gradation.
Of course it is. It's a little wrong to say a tomato is a vegetable. It's very wrong to say it's a suspension bridge. But returning to the original issue, Dick Grayson became Nightwing, a superhero in his own right. Batman 2 has to be the second Robin, Jason Todd.
It has to be. Has to be. I hope you're being deliberately provocative.
I found the decaf.
Oh, great.
Yeah, herbal tea for me, please.
So there you have it. This is a 1 minute and 55 second scene from The Big Bang Theory. And I use this because it has all the elements I can think about. It has conversation. It has different rhythms in the speech. And this is one of the things you should definitely practice. Listening to this kind of stuff, repeating, and being able to, as soon as you are able to repeat exactly what you heard at the speed that you heard it, you're going to notice the jump in your English is going to just go crazy bananas and crazy fast. And that's it for today. I know it was a different video, different kind of video. But maybe I'm going to do this also, using my YouTube channel to give you tips on English. I do this a lot on my podcast because, in case you haven't heard it, I do have a podcast called Think Onward, episodes every Wednesday. And there I give I talk in English about English stuff, about books, about reading, about etc. But that's it. I hope you like it. If you did, please like this video and subscribe to my channel, and also share this with your friends. Maybe people who are practicing English, people who don't know what they can do to develop English in case English is the second or third or fourth language. So that's it. See you next week.